What's up, guys? Adam Green here with No More News. Thank you for joining me today, Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. Got a huge show and a huge guest today. Going to be discussing Bibi's second visit to Trump's White House, where they discussed Gaza, war with Iran, tariffs, and a bunch of other stuff. And joining me, first time on the show, 7C's is here. He's got a show over on David Icke's Iconic. We did a stream the other day, and he's killing it on Twitter, covering a lot of interesting stuff. What's up, C's? Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Adam, and thank you for making some time to sit down and chat with me today. I really love your work, man, and the whole diving into the Abrahamic religion and its ties to, the greater plan and stuff. So happy to chat with you.
Awesome. Yeah. So I want to talk about the Bibi clips that just happened yesterday. I haven't had a chance to cover any of them yet and get your thoughts on that. And then maybe you could do a little share screen and get into some of your deep research in these mind maps and maybe a little Ian Carroll stuff. Just kind of your thoughts on the general scene lately.
Yeah. So, happy to share.
Yeah. Did you see this? Oh, wait, shoot. Because I'm on StreamYard, it doesn't switch to, I have to do this. Share screen, entire screen. There we go. Kentucky, this is today or yesterday. Kentucky mandates moment of silence. And you can see who's there with them. You seen how they're pushing every time. Kentucky, largely Christian Kentucky, post overwhelming support for the Chabad Lubavitch Noahide law moment of silence that they're trying to get done in all the public schools. And Trump's breaking up of the Department of Education to allow the states to do more of this, although there's already been Arizona and Florida, DeSantis, that passed this with the same photos with rabbis, Chabad rabbis all around them.
Yeah, it's I mean, you can clearly tell that they're trying to basically make it to where each state can, I have this theory that they're eventually going to put people, learning from like AI and robots and stuff, but, type
that too.
Yeah.
Well, Elon's basically straight out said that, right?
Yeah. He said within 10 years, our robots will be teaching our kids.
Yeah. I mean, they already are in a way.
Yeah, that's true. Algorithms and tablets and smartphones and stuff. It's they're just greasing the wheels.
Yeah, I saw you actually did you tweeted out that you're doing a boycott of Grok and ChatGPT. I'm already using that for lots of research. Although I double check it and I know it has been wrong. It's been wrong for some of my stuff before.
Yeah, that's actually important. Like always making sure that you're double checking, because I feel like just from my experience with people using it, that a lot of the times it just tells you what you want it to say. Mm-hmm. It like reads over your profile and all of that stuff. And I think it takes those things into context, because two people can type in the same question and get completely different responses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But, on this Kentucky passing this moment of silence, I think a lot of other states are going to do this too. I saw Vivek right after the Department of Education thing that Trump signed. Vivek said, like, yes, we need to mandate the Pledge of Allegiance and have a moment of silence. And I was like, look, there it is. This moment of silence idea is just them getting their foot in the door so they can start teaching. They also talked about prayer. They want to be able to do prayers in school too. So they all want to pray to the God of the Bible, the God of Israel. And you see this thing online from like e-Crusader internet Christians. They'll say like the Jews control all the internet and there's nothing they hate more than Jesus. But have you noticed how the Jesus content, the pro-Jesus content, is always going crazy viral and is wildly popular on not just X, but everything: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok.
Yeah, and it's wild to see. I know there's like a sort of I don't know if it's niche at this point. It seems to be kind of mainstream, where there's like the Christian white nationalist movement that are so anti, Judaism and then just end up pushing Jesus all the same. And it's like, I thought Jesus was Jewish, according to all the books.
Well, that's they'll deny and say that he's not. But I tweeted the other day that does anybody else find it a little odd, a little sus and psyopy that most of the biggest pro-Israel shills that are not Jewish are all Christian? So they're all the biggest Israel shills promote Jesus, but then also all of the biggest anti-Israel, anti-Zionism voices are also promoting Jesus. Like, yeah. Does that right there is true, and it illustrates the controlled opposition aspect.
Yeah, just from like digging into like Hegelian dialectics and seeing like the false dichotomies with like Democrats and Republicans, East versus West, it seems to be more of the same.
Exactly.
Speaking of Vivek, did you see that picture of him getting preyed on?
Yeah.
By all those pastors.
Right. Yeah. All the Christians surrounded him like Trump.
Yeah. Do they know he's Hindu and doesn't believe in their God?
I've seen him answer this question, the God question, before, and he goes like, "Oh, I believe in he basically believes in like a Noahide God, the oneness of a one true creator," and he tries to appeal to Christians in that way.
Oh wow! And they just eat it right up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, oh shoot, there we go, out of stage. So Netanyahu's came and visited again. What was he just here like 3 weeks ago when Trump was pushing in his chair?
Yeah. And he pushed the chair in again this time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, that a lot of people are saying that it's because it went viral last time he did it again, or he's like messing with, his detractors, but I don't see that as the case. I mean, he looks like he's waiting on his dad to like sign his permission slip for a field trip or something right there.
Mm-hmm. People were sharing he did also push in the chair for, I think, the president of India, the leader of India. I think he did. So maybe he does it for other people too, but he has to like know that everybody's showing the meme of him pushing in Netanyahu, and then he consciously did it again. And also I wonder, like, Trump cares so much what everybody thinks, right? He cares what the internet thinks about him. So I wonder if he's aware of like all of the memes that he's like works for Bibi and he's Netanyahu's puppet and stuff. Do you think that like affects him in the way he acts towards Israel, Netanyahu, seeing all being memed everywhere on the internet?
That's a great question, because I know that especially with his first term, that the internet played a huge part in his like campaign platform. You had Palantir like scraping Twitter and Facebook, handing that over to Cambridge Analytica to basically make his policies and stuff for him.
Was it NSO and Side Group too? I think was the other name in Cambridge Analytica, right?
Yeah, and NSO just ties right back to Mossad and Israel and all of that. So I think it's at that point. I think you may recall when he made that speech at the Christian conference where he said we're not going to need to vote again or have another election, and the hubris.
And now he's saying that he's not joking about getting a third term. And Steve Bannon, who worked with Cambridge Analytica in 2016, he's going around on podcasts saying that they're serious about trying to change laws so he could be president again.
Yeah, I mean, thinking back to FDR and the World War II, like that was kind of the pretense for him to get his third and fourth term there. And, the way that they're posturing with Iran right now for their holy war, it seems like they may end up using that to try to push that.
And on the internet and Trump being influenced, like he probably is aware that the internet is botted to hell. Like, is everybody pretending? Like, isn't it a known thing? Does anybody doubt that Israeli intelligence and Russian intelligence and probably Chinese and any big institution or country like with the resources has the internet botted to all hell? We know Elon bought X and claimed he was going to get rid of the bots. That hasn't happened. I see bots everywhere all the time selling financial stuff or crypto stuff or porn stuff. So you don't think that Mossad and Unit 8200 and Hasbara and all of that has bots everywhere? Of course the internet's botted. Who's going to deny that it's not botted?
Yeah, I mean, you have entire like data center farms in India
Mhm.
specifically, which I don't know why they're so, obsessed with Israel. There's a couple of reasons for that, but
It's
it just
probably, hold on. It's probably one reason is Israel is smart enough to hide their tracks. So they'll filter stuff through other countries or other front groups and stuff. That's one thing. But yeah, go ahead.
but yeah, just seeing that, just from there in India and like being able to pay all these people to just sit there and click and post. I mean, I wouldn't be convinced if most of them were like using some sort of Grok learning language model or something
Mhm.
like that to respond to comments, because I've had stuff people comment basically right as I hit post, and then a second later I have either a like by a porn bot or it's some sort of typed up response to try to, I guess, goad me into arguing with them about
Mhm.
stuff.
Remember, I don't know how old you are, but way back in the day when AOL Instant Messenger was the big thing, before MySpace and Facebook and Instagram and everything, way back then they would already have like an account you could follow that was a bot that you could have an AI conversation with. So that's been like, I don't know, 25 years. It's so much more advanced now. They've got the abilities to create sock puppets and create thousands of accounts with all these. I forgot which Israeli thing got leaked, but there was some Israeli program where they can have the ability to create all these fake accounts and make them really realistic and have all of this fake history and stuff. So we know the internet's botted. So what are they botting? That's the only question. What are they botting? What is most popular? What goes crazy, most viral? What kind of stuff? And what I see is all the pro Jesus stuff, all of the pro Jesus stuff, low IQ Christian anti-Semitism stuff, especially with X and Elon, all of the Christian Nazis were Christian type of stuff. Also, all of the Christian disinformation, like Jesus wasn't Jewish and stuff like that. That's what I see exploding more than ever. And now Elon got rid of the being able to see who likes things. So people can't even go in and check. I think your mic's having a little disconnecting again. It was like popping a bit, and
Sorry about
I think
that.
you might need a new wire or something. You got a broke
Yeah.
wire.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's clear. That's
Okay,
good.
perfect.
How's our audio levels, guys? I know they had a trouble with my audio levels last time. StreamYard doesn't like show you a leveler, so my mic is maxing out. Okay, that's so weird. All right. So again, Trump with the way he walks off, I thought this was AI.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, hell, it could be. At this point, it's hard to tell.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking for like extra fingers and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then Netanyahu comes and meets with Lutnick, talking commerce secretary. Lutnick was the next door neighbor to Epstein, right? In 9/11, and Cantor Fitzgerald was the top company hit in the Twin Towers.
Yeah, and I think just on a podcast a week or two ago, Lutnick was bragging about after they went and visited Schneerson's memorial or whatever, that he was the one that convinced Trump to bring Elon in, which I think it goes back further than that. But
Oh, I missed that. I saw him talking about going to Chabad. He's like, we'll get all the Jewish votes, basically, is why he said
yeah,
it. Which is like, okay, really pandering, aren't you? But I think it was you that shared that. I know I covered that and shared that, but I
yeah.
didn't see the Elon part. But I shared a clip a couple weeks ago on the stream where Elon's dad was interviewed, and he said that he was close family friends with Netanyahu for a long time.
Yeah, I actually, if you have something on that handy, that's actually news to me. When I first saw you post it, I was kind of away this weekend, and didn't have time to dig into it. But what was the connection there?
Uh, I'd have to go back and watch the clip again. I don't know if he specified. He just said that they were close family friends. Elon's dad.
Okay. And I'm looking.
I'd have to look. But also, Trump's dad was close with Netanyahu in the 80s when Netanyahu was the ambassador to the United States.
Yeah, wasn't he like helping to build synagogues all in New York and stuff at the time too?
He was doing that, and he was also investing in Israeli bonds as well.
Oh wow.
which probably had something to do with Trump getting his in the early 80s, getting that Tree of Life Kabbalistic Theodore Herzl Jewish National Fund Tree of Life Award that he said that he has right there, right next to his desk in his office.
Yeah, he didn't he also get the Crown of Jerusalem or something like that in the last year or so?
The Torah Crown from the Israel
Yeah.
Heritage Foundation, which is co-chaired or co-ran with it's Chabad. It's a Chabad rabbi. He was right there at the Rebbe's grave when they went and visited even. How about this too? Lutnick talks about what does it mean to bring manufacturing back to America? He says it's all going to be robotics. So it's not even jobs.
Yeah, I love that people are like cheering on the idea of robotics, but it's the same crowd that is upset about like H-1B visas and immigrants and stuff. Like robots are going to be the new immigrant and it's going to displace everybody. And I guess that's a good thing. I don't understand the mental gymnastics with these people, man.
I saw who's the comedian, the gay fat white comedian that's like on Joe Rogan. I'm forgetting his name.
Tim Dillon.
Now. Tim Dillon, yeah. I saw a little bit that he did. He says that America is the podcast economy. We've switched over to from like manufacturing to service to now podcast. We're an economy of takes, of hot takes.
Yeah, I mean that it seems to be like I mean, hell, there's not even telling how long this is going to go because it seems like the AI generated OnlyFans model is taking off, and you have people that don't even exist that have, you know, they're beating out like real, you know, not that OnlyFans is good or anything, but the fact that they're already getting beat out by robots and stuff is, I mean, that's just going to be a projection for basically every other industry to come, I think.
And not just the like robotics in the factories, but also the robots that Elon's coming out with too. Not just Elon, but other companies as well. That like, remember they're promising that it's going to be like $30,000 that you can have a robot in your home that does all of your chores for you. Basically, it's going to be wild.
Yeah, it makes no sense because you know, people are all concerned about like the smart speakers and their phone always listening to them, but the robots are going to have microphones, cameras, and they could kill you in your sleep if they wanted to. You know, if you tweet the wrong thing or something and it just comes in and...
I hadn't thought about that. Killer robots. They'll flip the switch. Israel inside AI robots and they'll just start killing people. Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a cool movie, actually. Did you see, I'm sure you did because David Icke shared it also, but the edit of Alex Jones from just a couple years ago, like trashing Tesla and electric vehicles, and now he's like the biggest shill for it.
Yeah. It was really funny because he was having trouble trying to figure out how to put it in Drive. And someone had to pull it up, I guess whoever his cameraman was, but it's like a stark contrast. I don't know how Alex Jones still has an audience, if I'm being honest, because he just completely 180'd, especially in the last year or so. And it's the antithesis of the Alex Jones I grew up watching.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, for sure. You know, all of the popular people I don't understand, or almost all the popular people I don't understand how anybody watches them. It's almost like the worse somebody is and the least likely I am to watch them, the more followers they have.
Yeah. Yeah, and that goes back to like the botting and not being able to see who's liking everything, and you know they all share each other's stuff, and it's I actually just posted something from Benny Johnson that was like a before and after where he was complaining about the Kamala economy, you know, just last year, and now that we're having these liberation tariffs that Trump just passed. Now he's like, you know, losing money builds character. And it's like, dude, come on.
You know, my thoughts on the whole Trump economy and tariff stuff is I think that it's going to look like it's real bad for him. And then he's going to turn it around. He's going to be hailed as like an economic miracle, like Hitler in Germany, like completely turned it around. And it's all Trump gets all the credit for the boom and the American golden age. That's where I think this is going, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's either going to go one of two ways, like you said. It's going to end up because I think we all know the monetary system itself is just kind of rigged. So whatever they want to happen with the markets, I think is able to happen. And then the other option is that it completely tanks the US dollar, and they're like, well, we need to move over to stable coins and do digital only currency. And then he'll bring in his buddy Brock Pierce with things like Tether, and I mean Solana I think was just added to the sovereign fund as well.
So I was reading some of your tweets yesterday, and the Brock Pierce, who has connections to Ian Carroll, this new truther that it's exploded online, something about him having connections to Netanyahu in Israel. Did I read that correctly?
Maybe
it might not have been you.
It might not have been me. I know that he's a known Epstein client. He's in bed with like people like Steve Bannon. And you know, he's the co-founder of Tether, but he also has those child abuse allegations from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
This was the Economist cover of their magazine recently. It was Trump with the gasoline lighting up the dollar.
Yeah,
and remember the Economist 30 years ago or whatever, they had the cover about who's ready for the digital currency. I think Bitcoin and these cryptos and what they're doing also will have the big boom, and then the insiders will get their profits, and then they'll pull the rug, and the average American and their 401ks and everything is going to go down later. So there's going to be a boom, and then there's going to be a huge bust under Trump, I think. And then which will lead to the one world currency that they've been wanting to set up forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I have sort of this like technocratic in-game model, and I always try to tell people all the time, you know, like crypto isn't what you think it is. The whole digital only being able to have access to it, like trade with it when you're connected to the internet, you have to have electricity in order to transact. And you know, you have people like Larry Fink, who again, like huge supporter of Israel and their cause. He always like gleefully discusses the tokenization of everything, and that's like getting all things on the blockchain, including stocks, bonds, deeds. I'm convinced that they're trying to create like a token ID for every strawberry in the grocery store, so that, you know, they have an itemized public ledger of literally everything that you buy.
Larry Fink, BlackRock, was in Trump's cabinet or one of Trump's advisors in 2016, his first term. I saw it reported that he was like, they were thinking about him for some position in 2024. He's all for Bitcoin now, and also Lutnick is heavily invested in Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, I think Lutnick said he had hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin, and you know, you have them, you have all these companies and stuff. Apple has tons of money in Bitcoin, Tesla, and all these billionaires, and then you see the markets go up and down and fluctuate, and it's a way to absolve themselves of accountability when the price dips, because I think they're all sort of collaborating with each other to do these mass sell-offs when the price goes up, because then nobody can blame them when the price goes down without scouring through the ledger and things like that.
Let's see. They talked a little tariffs in the White House yesterday, Trump and Bibi. Let's see what they were saying here.
I can tell you that.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I said to
Cool. And guys, he's not having an echo. So apparently StreamYard's got it worked out where I'm not having the echo I was having before. That's good.
I can tell you that I said to the president a very simple thing. We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same.
Isn't it interesting how Bibi comes in like the total good guy, the total ally? All the other countries, like China, announced they're doing all these retaliation things, and with Canada and Mexico, it's been all contentious. But with Netanyahu, he's like, yes, we'll do anything. We'll eliminate it as soon as possible. I doubt it's going to happen. I think we're still going to get screwed, probably even worse. But it's interesting, the contrast, right? So now all the pro-Israel people are like, look, greatest ally. Look, Bibi's for us, right?
Yeah, I honestly think there's like a bigger play here where they're trying to make themselves less dependent on America and set up this free trade arrangement just to, more closely bind Israel and the United States. I mean, we had things like NAFTA, that basically just saw us become what seems like more of a collection of nations in North America. I think that's sort of paving the way for the same type of like unionization between the two countries.
Great point. You're totally right. We've already got like bi-national agreements for like tech sharing, technology stuff. And we probably need more barriers. The red tape is preventing them from like infiltrating and backdooring everything probably.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's probably going to be even more of a screw job, but we'll see. That's the total right angle, though. I think you nailed it.
Recognize the position of the United States. It says, we're allowing other countries to put tariffs on us, but we don't put tariffs on them. And I'm a free trade champion, and free trade has to be fair trade. And I think that's basically the position that you've put forward, Mr. President. We are going to eliminate the tariffs, and rapidly. I had the opportunity to speak to.
What was Israel doing with tariffs on us to begin with?
Yeah, it's like they tariff our goods. They get all sorts of money from us, and then they just use all that money to bribe all of our politicians to lobby for more aid. It just seems like a big money laundering scheme, and this is definitely gonna, I think, play a major part in it.
Secretary Lutnick yesterday, we talked about how we could affect this quickly, and I hope to bring the solution very quickly. We're not talking about intentions. We're not talking about,
Where was this in the first term?
Yeah. Why have they been allowed to, what was it, like $24 million or something, or 24 billion of tariffs a year? I can't remember the exact figure, but I don't know. It seems like we've given more than that in aid, and then they turn around and just charge us.
Yeah.
Also, so we're getting like double screwed.
Yeah, there should be no aid unless you remove all tariffs. That's what it should be. And isn't it interesting too? You'll see like lots of people right now are criticizing Trump's use of tariffs. If tariffs are bad, then why is all the rest of the world been tariffing us?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like we have to pay for the, I guess, like economic influence that we have as a country.
I know.
It seems
and we've been losing all our manufacturing too, and all these other countries have been rising up, and we're like empire in decline.
Yeah, like they've shipped all the jobs overseas for years, and now that they're bringing them back, it's only because Americans aren't going to get those positions, like Lutnick said.
Did you see the Chinese did an AI video like mocking America? It showed a bunch of like fat Americans like on the assembly line and in the sweatshops like doing stuff.
Oh, I think I saw that where the guy was like trying to sew the shirt.
Yeah,
that was hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but
it was a good troll.
Yeah. I also sent you that video of Lutnick talking about like bringing on Elon and stuff. From the Schneerson thing.
Okay, we'll play that because I'm going to go to the Lutnick clip after the other one of him Lutnick talking to Bibi here in a second.
Just words, we're talking about results, and those results are going to come. That's the first. Thank you very much. It's very nice. Thank you.
I love the little touch of the Dow Jones just constantly dropping in the bottom right corner too. That's great.
Yeah. No, though, I honestly I don't think Trump's going to get in and do these tariffs and just destroy the economy and destroy America forever. I don't think that's going to happen. I really do think it's going to be Trump's a genius, the economic miracle, the greatest businessman, the American golden age. I think that's what's going to play out of all of this.
Yeah. I think that people's pensions, 401ks, things like that are going to be sort of levied to help aid that, just constantly devaluing that. And then the like the entitlements and stuff, Social Security, Medicare, I think all of those things are going to end up being cut as we start recovering. And they're going to say, look, see, we got rid of Social Security, and now everything's doing well, and this just plays all right into the original technocracy plan from over 100 years ago, where they say they want to abdicate all the absentee owners of big businesses.
Okay, let's see. You're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy. They told you what the plan was.
Yep.
Okay, here, let's do this one now.
Now, we're not going to have all factories come back. Like clothing manufacturing, that's tough to bring back. But what kind of manufacturing are you talking about returning here?
Well, you can't just give that away. See, what's going to happen is robotics are going to replace the cheap labor that we've seen all across the world. I mean, think of what our factories did. They went to the cheapest labor in the whole world, slave labor, cheap labor, the worst environmental conditions, polluting the heck out of it. And then we bring back those cheap products here and we feel good about ourselves because we don't see the pain. But
now, we're not going to have all factories come back. Like
so that's what you're getting.
That's tough to...
That's what we're going to get is, and here was the Netanyahu one. So what manufacturing is coming back? Oh, it's not going to be jobs. It's all going to be robotics. It's like, they're telling you what's going to happen.
Just more income for the people that own the robots. That doesn't mean, nobody here is going to get the manufacturing jobs that they're trying to bring back.
You know what's so annoying too? It's like, look at what Lutnick's doing and Trump's doing with Israel and bombing Yemen and his Zionist cabinet, and Kennedy talking about MMR vaccines and plagues of anti-Semitism. It's like they're doing everything you and I and others warned was going to happen, that they said was going to happen. And then there was all these truthers that were like blind to this somehow and ignored it and still gave them the benefit of the doubt and supported them and tried to help them. It's one thing to say like they're the lesser of two evils and I'm biting my tongue and hoping for the best, but like they were shilling for it. They were like the biggest one is when Ian Carroll, when Trump was with Netanyahu and he goes, "Oh, Netanyahu doesn't look happy about Trump taking Gaza." Like enough of this 4D chess, QAnon, trust the plan stuff. It's people in the fell for it again award and the I told you so jar is just filling up too much. People love being duped and lied to over and over again, apparently.
Yeah, I don't understand, especially given the post-COVID narrative where, we're supposed to be questioning government and the things that they do and like looking back at the authoritarianism even during Trump's term before Biden got in there and did what he did. And it's like, wait and see. I think Ian Carroll says that a lot. Well, let's just wait and see what happens. And it's like, so just sit on our asses and do nothing while the country gets set up for technocracy and being beholden to Israel and keep paying these taxes that go overseas to them and funding the genocide and stuff. And it's like that so you want us to do nothing.
Just keep trusting. Just keep waiting and see and hope for the best.
Yeah, it's I can see it for what it is, but it's really concerning when I make like a post critical of him and there's just tons of people saying, well, he ratioed Elon on the Israel thing and he's woken people up to other things, and it's like, man, he's just regurgitating shit that people have exposed years ago and doing it worse than they did.
And it's old shit too. It's not like it's even relevant, a lot of it. And what they're when they expose all the stuff that has been exposed, but then they still get you on board with MAGA and MAHA and are making excuses and are trying to get their access, and it's just, I think we're in big trouble with the mainstream alternative media and the state of the internet today. Twitter, almost since Elon bought it almost feels more like burnt out Facebook and MySpace to me, honestly. In a way, it's gotten way trashier.
Yeah, I agree. And just sort of seeing the do you remember the Smith-Mundt Act?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the propaganda on Americans.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just crazy to see that Obama repealed that, or like modified that with the NDAA of 2012. And then we just had this huge explosion of influencers that are like pro-government on both sides. And people like Tucker Carlson, his dad worked at that same agency that was like prohibited from dispersing propaganda.
Voice of America.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, InfoWars bought all of the old Voice of America radio equipment.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually working on something with Alex Jones right now that I'm writing up for Substack, so that'll be a good point.
And the source of that is Alex himself is on video saying that.
Oh wow!
So you know, yeah, not a conspiracy I made up. All right, they don't have to make anything up. There's way too much stuff already. Truth is stranger than fiction. You don't have to make anything up. The people that do make stuff up only helps to cover up the true things. But let's see Lutnick and Bibi here. It's a little quiet.
Super great. This is Ambassador Greer.
Hi. President, it's great to meet you. Jameson Greer, thank you for coming.
Good.
See you, sir. Here again, Tim?
Yeah, remember? I like it.
A lot of plates.
Yeah. Tiny hats everywhere. Yeah, Lutnick looks like he's meeting his hero. He's like smiling like a kid in a candy store.
They all do. They all do.
Yeah.
How about what are the craziest things? Like, I feel like I'm being gaslit. Like, Trump's supposed to be the peace president. Like, here's Pete Hegseth. Thank you, Mr. President. Coming soon, the first $1 trillion. It's like Dr. Evil, not million, billion, trillion dollar defense budget. So we need a $1 trillion defense budget. We need a Golden Dome, Iron Dome for America. What are they getting us prepped up for? If not war with Iran and Russia and China and their Gog and Magog plan, all leading to that $1 trillion. So it's like we're supposed to be happy about Doge finding a couple million here and there, and then now $1 trillion defense.
Yeah, and all of these like false wins that, you know, they're just scapegoating the old system so that they can usher in all of these other things, and their entire base is just like, well, if it's pissing off the liberals, then I'm all for it. I won't question it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Let's do this. Or when it, like Alex Jones, for years, he'll talk about, the military-industrial complex and blah, 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 blah. And then now it's like Trump doesn't. He goes, yeah, well, we have to do it. We got to beat China.
Yeah, the whole thing with China, like you have the DeepSeek stuff that's going on, and now they're, I guess, ramping up on their brain chip markets and things like that. I just saw that post last night. And it's like the same false dichotomy of, oh, well, look at them over there. They're speeding things up and they're doing this, that, and the other. So now we have to if we want to keep up. And
I think it was Elon did a podcast with Ted Cruz, and he's like, well, China's doing this AI. Well, then we need to too. So it's like, and then China says they got to do it because we do it. So it's all just an arms race ending in what?
Yeah, I think it's left foot, right foot, just like with Republicans and Democrats. I think there's a false dichotomy with the East versus the West, where, I mean, we saw it with like the Cold War and ramping up like militarization and stuff like that. And now that we have this false dichotomy where, you know, everyone agreed that there was this COVID virus, all the world's governments collaborated together. They might have had like seemingly different things, but they all subscribe to that same narrative and that same propaganda regardless.
How about, you know, this is weird too. We got them bragging about their $1 trillion Department of Defense for the Third Temple fanatic. By the way, let's not forget to mention that Pete Hegseth is a Christian crusader fanatic that wants to rebuild the Third Temple. Was it you that I was just talking to about who his pastor was? Rick Wilson, right? Is that what you said?
Douglas Wilson.
Douglas Wilson.
Yeah, I actually have a link I can send you. Let's see here.
Okay. Well, while you're working on that, I'll play this one of.
But despite that,
You know what? Actually, I forgot. We had the one you wanted to play here too. Let's do that.
So we decided we're going to go out to the hell. He says, look, I'm not sure what to do October 7th, right? Why don't we figure out what I should be doing October 7th? So we decided we're going to go out to the hell, which is a super religious Hasidic Jewish Messiah. You know, the people who wear black hats think
Super Jewish Messiah, he calls him. This is so funny. The people in the black hats, they think he's the Messiah.
Yeah, talking about Schneerson.
Yeah, my understanding is that it's not all of them. It's like it's split. There's split. There's factions. Some believe he is, and some believe he isn't. So I'm not sure if he's not aware of that, or just all the ones he knows do think he's the Messiah.
Yeah.
Messiah. You know, the people who wear black, Hasidic Jewish Messiah. You know, the people who wear black hats think he's the Messiah, and they have a crypt for him where you write a note and you put a note in. All right, and so we agreed we'd go out to that grave site, and we'd probably win 60,000 of those kind of voters, which is pretty cool for a day. And then we drove there and back together, two of us. So I had an hour and a half, just he and me talking. And I said, I want to balance the budget of the United States of America. And this is the way we're going to do it. No one's ever checked the just under $4 trillion of entitlements. Every politician thinks what you have to do is you have to take the retirement age from 65 and make it a 70. Right. And you have to do this and this and this and this because they never think about the money. Totally. But people like us would say, what's the first thing you do? Well, what's the value I'm getting for my money?
He didn't say anything about Elon there, did he? Is that?
There was, I believe, an article had popped up that sort of referenced it during the video.
Well, we know that Elon did come in officially, publicly, right after the assassination attempt.
Yeah.
Which I think it's very bizarre that Trump has not seemed concerned at all to try to get to the bottom of that, of how that happened or who was behind that.
Yeah, I actually publicly subscribe to the belief that it was staged, just to sort of endear people more towards him and further vilify the left, which, I mean, the left also has its own entire slew of problems, but it seems like they're just constantly making them the scapegoat when really it's just two sides of the same fucking coin.
I think that and the RFK supporting Trump were the two biggest things, probably. Maybe the Joe Rogan interview also. All of the martyrdom of Trump, the whole narrative of all the charges and indictments and deep state and Russia collusion and everything coming after him only made people like him more.
Yeah, I think he ended up recouping multiple times over the money that he allegedly had to pay out for the E. Jean Carroll thing, and that was a fundraising sort of piggy bank for him. He got millions of dollars off of that, and that's not even including all of his other donors and things like that over the entire time of the case. He had his mugshot. He was literally in jail just long enough to get a mugshot, and then he's out and becomes president, and there's no consequences or long-term ramifications. Just speaking about the Schneerson thing, I just sent you the thing with RFK, where he brags about visiting as well, and it shows a picture of his dad visiting them, and it just kind of dispels that whole blackmail thing, because if his dad was openly visiting and things like that, and seeing the whole he must be blackmailed and that's why he's 180ing on all of these things, and I don't think that's the case. I think he's been in bed with them the whole time.
Me too. And on the assassination thing, it's also kind of weird that he had the blood going down his ear, but then they've shown us no pictures at all of what the actual damage looked like. He shows up at the RNC for the nomination with a huge MyPillow bandage on, and then a week later it's off and there's no scab, no scar, no notch missing. It's it's very weird. I don't have a strong theory on what I think happened, and I'm not claiming that I know that it was staged or anything, but I mean, seems like very Hollywood and WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
WWE.
Yeah, I do subscribe to it being fake. I can't prove it. I think that at least part of it was staged, and anything that would sort of provide evidence towards that is obviously never going to be released by him or his administration. I don't think Cash Patel's too concerned with uncovering dirt on that.
There's another one. Cash Patel's as soon as I get in, I'm going to shut down the FBI. He said this for years. I'm going to shut down the FBI and turn it into a museum of the deep state. He gets in, and that's completely out the window. Also, I saw everybody's real mad. He just appointed or some guy that was like going after the January Sixers.
Oh yeah, I saw some stuff on that too, and apparently I think it was the New York Times was reporting on that, and people were like, "This is just fake news. That's not happening. They're just trying to make Cash look bad." And then the very next day, that's exactly what the fuck happened.
Yeah, it's confirmed on the government website. He's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's this. Here's them talking about the $1 trillion budget.
But despite that, we have a tremendous military. That was a very small portion because we rebuilt the military during my first term, and we have great things happening with our military. We also essentially approved a budget which is in the facility. You'll like to hear this, of $1 trillion, $1 trillion.
You'll like to hear this.
Of course he would, because we're gonna have boots on the ground for Israel in the next few months.
I already saw it. I mean, it could be fake news, but huge airplanes full of soldiers going over there. I also saw somebody, apparently some military guy died in Gaza now too. A U.S. soldier died in Gaza, so they're in there working together to finish off Gaza. I can't believe he says that. You'll like this. You'll love this, Bibi. $1 trillion for us to shield you and go to war with Iran for you.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Essentially approved a budget which is in the facility. You'll like to hear this, of $1 trillion, $1 trillion, and nobody's seen anything like it. We have to build our military, and we're very cost conscious, but the military is something that we have to build, and we have to be strong because you got a lot of bad forces out there now. So we're going to be approving a budget. And I'm proud to say, actually, the biggest.
It's funny. There's a lot of bad people out there. Doesn't he say, I got a great relationship with Xi Jinping. I got a great relationship with Putin. So why do we need the biggest military ever if you're the peace president and you're and you got such great relationships with these people and they respect you so much?
Yeah. Yeah, it's especially with Pete Hegseth at the helm, like his whole obsession with the Christian Reconstructionist Zionist movement, and it just seems like they're slowly doing whatever they can to turn America unofficially or officially into the United States of Israel. Like we're gonna have their same defense system. We're gonna go fight every single war on their behalf. They already own all of our politicians. And now it's just like that, like you said, that red tape and those walls and stuff are slowly coming down. I mean, I would say in my lifetime that we may even have all the stars replaced with little stars of the Remphan stars and stuff.
I made a meme of like that a long time ago. I'll try to find it here.
This one we've ever done for the military. We're cutting other things that were under Doge, but under a lot of other. When you look at a woman getting $2 billion for environmental, and it had nothing to do with environmental, and they had $100 in the bank, and they give her $2 billion. Many of those cases, all that stuff is going to be cut out.
All that's going to be cut out, and it's all going to go to a military for Bibi's wars. Aren't you happy to hear that, Bibi? I think we called that too. I was saying like all of these Doge savings are just going to go towards Israel in one way or another. So is this what you had in mind? The Zionist states of America?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And if it wasn't the Freemason compass, I'd imagine all 50 stars would just be a little six-pointed star there.
Mm-hmm. Did you send me? Oh, and so the $1 trillion thing, and then now Trump's bragging about blowing up the Houthis. Everybody's claiming, and it kind of does look like, it doesn't really look like a military thing. Apparently, they do have some tribal custom where they all get in a big circle, do a prayer or dance or something. And he says they were gathered for instructions on the attack. Oops, no more attack. They will never sink our ships again, which that's news that they never told us that they sank any of our ships. We knew they were attacking the ships, but not that they sank any. What are some of your thoughts on this latest boast by Trump? His latest kill.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing is like the fact that we have somebody who's in charge who seems to be like getting off on the idea of just murdering people. You don't know who those people were. They could have airdropped aid, in my opinion, just like they've been doing in Gaza, where they'll have people, come up and try to get aid and then use that as a way to sort of increase their casualties. I haven't heard anything about them sinking any of our ships. It sounds
They
a
have
lot
shot
like,
they have shot weapons at Israel though that we had to shoot down. So and because like we're having a problem with the Houthis because of what's going on in Israel. So it's directly related to Israel. And another I told you so flip-flop, Tulsi Gabbard, who's also photographed with the Adelsons and Shmuley, like RFK, like we just saw. Tulsi Gabbard a few years ago was saying it's genocide, supporting Saudi Arabia for a genocide on the people of Yemen, and then now she's all for it when she gets in.
Yeah, and there was records of her getting APAC money, and like you said, those pictures next to Shmuley and things like that, and then seeing all these people say, she's going to come in and she's going to, be some sort of balanced voice, or, have some sort of common sense. And she was aligned with the PSYOP division of our military.
Mm-hmm.
And she was leading that battalion for a while.
And a World Economic Forum fellow or whatever it was. So, look, I mean, it looks pretty obvious to me that this is what they just blew up. And this is something with – these aren't soldiers here. This is just families. This is like one of their customs. I was seeing a lot of people post threads of them lining up in a big circle like this. And that's what Trump bombed.
This just seems like they're there to, like, see somebody speak.
It used to be that like the government would have horrible videos and then they would cover it up, and it would have to be like WikiLeaks or some insider to leak them. And now Trump posted on Twitter bragging about it, which the whole world sees this. Does this going to make Americans safer around the world in regards to getting attacked by Muslims? Our president boasting about this. Is Trump posting AI videos of him and Bibi drinking Mai Tais on the beach in Gaza with a huge golden idol statues of Trump in Gaza? Do you think that's going to make us loved and respected around the world, or put every American and Westerner at risk from attacks from Muslims in retaliation?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the opposition, I guess, for Israel seems to have like Hamas was funded and trained by Israel, and ISIS as well. And I think that all of these things do sort of breed this negative sentiment of Americans for doing all these things on behalf of Israel. But I think that the average population, the average person, doesn't want war with us. They're upset at I would say like your average American citizen probably doesn't want to go to war, but their leaders do, and because it's profitable for them. And I think that, acts like this are just casualties, or the cost of doing business to these people, especially considering that Trump was the one that ended up signing that order that allowed the government to not disclose drone strike casualties in his first term. So they could they could be doing this all day, every day, and they just never have to tell anybody.
Like, do people really gather for instructions for an attack, like in the middle of nowhere in a big circle with no, like, where are the missiles? How are they going to attack at this point right here?
Yeah. Yeah. And
you're going to have your secret attack meetings out in the open in the same traditional form as these other things they're doing here. It's just, are we ever going to get proof that this was a military strike?
I would say probably not.
It's going to come out that it wasn't, and we're going to look awful, and Trump's going to look like a...
Did you see the thing about Jared Kushner's Abraham Accords Peace Institute getting rolled into the Heritage Foundation?
Is that recent?
Yeah, this happened on April 3rd.
Oh, no, I did not see that.
It looks like, now it is an Axios article, but you can find an alternate source if you'd like. But the Heritage Foundation has like huge it was started like during Reagan's presidency, and it's got ties to a lot of the Republican Congress, and it's like this huge think tank with all of these people that are tied up with it, like Yud Zbigniew Brzezinski. He was a part of that, and He was a part of the Camp David Accords and stuff, but I guess Jared Kushner's Abraham Accords Institute, yeah.
Wow.
He's going to merge into the Heritage Foundation.
You couldn't get any more Zionist than that Heritage Foundation. It makes me want to look more into what Heritage Foundation has been doing. So, of course, Kushner's still, he doesn't have a cabinet position. He's an advisor behind the scenes. He was also involved with the staffing of the new cabinet with the America First Policy Institute. Remember, Michael Tracy interviewed Lutnick, and he said, yeah, Kushner's he's working with Kushner to staff the new cabinet.
Yeah.
So the Abraham Accords, Kushner teaming up with Heritage Foundation, one of the biggest conservative Zionist groups out there. I did not hear of that. How did I not hear of that? That should have been a big story. That should have been all over my timeline. Why do I see nothing but Christian-controlled opposition disinformation on my timeline nonstop, and I didn't even see this?
Yeah, it flew under the radar, but I think it was like some Anon account ended up sharing it, and luckily I was able to catch it because I don't even think it was someone that I was following myself. But I guess it happened like really, really rapidly, and it just kind of got hushed away because you have, people like Stephen Witkoff and, Jared Kushner being Trump's son-in-law and stuff. I'm sure that they tried to limit the exposure as much as possible.
This is what happens when you believe your heritage is comes from the God of Abraham. You get stuff like this.
Entitlement.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Here's Trump says it's an honor to be a friend of Israel.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have a very, very special person. I've dealt with him for a long time, Benjamin Netanyahu.
Very, very special person. That's how I should introduce my guests. My guest, Sees, is a very, very special person.
It reminds me of when he told all the J6ers to go home, and he was like, "I love you. You're special people."
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious.
Israel, and we had lunch together. We had meetings together. Staff, and I think we've come up to some pretty good solutions and conclusions, and we'll be working a little bit after this, and then I assume you're going back home.
Conclusions? We came to some good conclusions, huh?
This is a great stop, in and out, but we appreciate you being here, and we are a friend of Israel, as you know. I would say that I'm by far the best president that Israel has ever even thought of seeing.
Wow.
And,
trust the plan, guys. Trust the plan. There's a big Russian Orthodox Church account that was been slandering me the last few days on Twitter. And 4 months before the election, he said Trump has the chance to liberate America from the Talmudic Zionists. That's what he wrote. That's what he was trying to sell. Of course, big accounts slandering me with lies are saying stuff like that. And no, exactly like I've been saying for 8 years, Trump got back in with more Zionists than ever.
Yeah, and I mean, it's no secret that Putin is also completely beholden to the Chabad Lubavitch and stuff. I've seen so many pictures of him with like the portrait of Schneerson in the background, or him just meeting with them and stuff. Mm-hmm. That whole Russian Christian narrative, it's just the same thing it is over here. But right. I guess because it's overseas, people think that it's legitimate or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll say like I'm a Zionist, but then Putin's not. Like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
Here, I made a good little chat GPT thing of Trump with Schneerson. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Like this one. This trend that was going around the other day, all over. The expression on Trump's face is really good for this one.
What's crazy too is the level of face detail that they put on Schneerson. It's almost like they valued,
Yeah, he looks real.
Yeah.
They didn't cartoon him up. That is interesting.
Did you see that clip yesterday of Ursula von der Leyen? I believe she's the head of the EU, saying that Europe has the values of the Talmud.
Yeah. I know. It's like, does she have no idea what all the Christians are saying online about the Talmud, how much they're always seething over the Talmud and what the Talmud says about Jesus? And she's going to say here to Christian, you're cooked, Christian Europe, when your leader says that you have the values of the Talmud now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Europe is the values of the Talmud. The Jewish sense of personal responsibility, of justice, and of solidarity.
Yeah, that's when I
Europe's values
think of the Talmud, that's what I think of, justice and solidarity. How about like not solidarity and injustice for the Gentiles with like the two-tier legal system for Gentiles in there? Outrageous. Outrageous. We're so cooked. Is she Christian?
Honestly, I'm not sure, but definitely the Noahide laws.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Noahide laws when they just say Judeo-Christian as well. They don't even have to say Talmud.
Yeah.
German politician. Yeah, what role there's a video of her. What role does God play in our life? EU debates. She meets the Pope also. What an outrageous thing to say, that the Talmud is. It's like, why couldn't she have just gone with like the Bible is has the values of the Bible when the Jews gave us the Bible? She could have said that, but no, she took it to another level of gaslighting.
Yeah, it's like that's when you start dipping into that, like the collection of the Kabbalah and stuff and the mysticism. And I mean, it's the same thing. You post videos of rabbis talking about like direct quotes from the Talmud all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure your audience is very well aware of some of the stuff that's in there.
Right. It's an incredible clip.
Yeah.
Hard to believe it's even real.
Yeah.
Here's Trump talking about U.S. peace force deployed to Gaza. So here's some of the updates on Gaza now. Not looking good.
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate. And I think it's something that we would be involved in. But, having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza.
Peace force. That's what we've been doing in Gaza. We're a peace force now.
It's like the Ministry of Truth.
The peace force on top of the blood and bones of so many slaughtered children.
Yeah.
It would be a good thing, because right now all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone, a free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place.
Okay, so we got to move the Palestinians away so the Israelis won't kill them every day. Yeah. It's going to be the peace zone, the freedom zone, the happy zone. Can you believe this?
No, I think the ones that they end up not enforcing peace on, I guess is the way to phrase that, they'll end up shipping out to, I think Egypt said that it was open to taking them now, if I remember correctly.
They've been denying it for a long time, although they already have a lot of Palestinians, Jordan and Egypt and these countries. They've been saying no because that's what Israel wants. Maybe he's talking about European countries is where they have a plan for them to go.
Yeah, I think that they might end up shipping them here.
Dude, this is unreal. I can't believe we're calling it the peace zone and the freedom zone now. Freedom for everybody but the Palestinians. Freedom to not be killed in your ancient homeland by the Jews.
A freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone. A free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place. It's you know what I call it? A great location that nobody wants to live in, because they really don't. And when they had...
Yeah, the Palestinians want to live there. The people of Gaza want to live there.
Yeah. According to Mike Huckabee, which I'm sure you're familiar with, his ambassador to Israel, he thinks there's no such thing as a Palestinian.
They all say that.
Yeah. And
from the river to the sea, when the Palestinians say it, is a call for genocide and hate and will be banned from universities. And from Elon tweeted that was hate. That was a call for genocide that would be censored. But Netanyahu can say the same thing, that they want to have their greater Israel, or they want to have it from, to the sea as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's okay because Netanyahu is, helping to funnel money into Elon, and they're setting up they're setting up the cashless society there in Gaza. And
remember, Elon was Bibi's special guest when he came and addressed Congress a couple months ago. Elon was Netanyahu's special guest. His dad said they've been close family friends for a long time. Elon buys X, teams up with Zionist Trump, and then Elon's ex explodes with Christian anti-Semitism. Can people connect these puzzle pieces together and figure out what's going on?
If you want an actual answer, I would say no. I think that people are we're too isolated, and people, we have all these news stories that come out day after day, and I think that's slowly conditioned us to stop having like memory permanence. So it's like you just focus, like nobody thinks about like COVID ramifications and what was happening back then to now when we're talking about mRNA vaccines and Operation Stargate. And I think it's that same thing where they've just slowly started drip feeding things so people forget about stuff and they can't see the big picture and how things constantly keep tying back to each other.
But that's another one. Day one of Trump's presidency, he announces with Zionist Larry Ellison, Operation Stargate, mRNA vaccines to stop us from cancer. Day one, never talked about that during the campaign trail. And then day one, another I told you so. You guys should have known better.
When they have good living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems they have, the level of death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible. And I've said it. I don't understand why Israel ever gave it up. Israel owned it. It wasn't the
Sorry, I didn't have it up on the screen, so I don't think you guys were.
They had good living. When they have good living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems they have, the level of death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible. And I've said it. I don't understand why Israel ever gave it up. Israel owned it.
I love how he's like, Gaza's death, the bombings in Gaza has just been terrible, just been horrible. You're sitting next to the guy that's done all of it.
Yeah. Literally commanding the strikes.
But remember how he acted to Zelensky? It's like, you don't tell me, you would be nothing without us. Don't tell us how we're going to be, right? None of that attitude for this. You don't want peace. You don't want peace. He kept saying that. And we know that Trump, after he lost in 2020, said he was mad that Netanyahu supported Biden. And he said Bibi didn't want peace. Abbas in Palestine wanted peace more than Bibi. He doesn't think Bibi wanted peace, but he won't say that shit now.
Yeah. Yeah, and the timing of the stuff with Zelensky, too, came right after the Epstein folder thing with all those state-funded influencers and stuff holding the binders. So I think they needed something like a little bit of theater to make him look good again. A strong president.
Dude, can you believe they tried that? They literally had some of the biggest Zionist, worst influencers to hold up their binders of nothing, and then we still have gotten nothing.
Yeah. I think Libs of TikTok just joined Kristi Noem on some sort of like crime buster thing.
I saw that.
And it's ridiculous.
So what, is she tied in with Homeland Security? Like,
right.
She's tied in with Chabad. We know that.
Yeah. And you got Kristi Noem showing up with like in full makeup with her hair done to do these like covert operations. Like she's not going to stick out like a sore thumb.
She did the photo op in front of all of the like El Salvadorian gangsters and cartel members. And now Trump's teasing the idea that American prisoners are going to be sent to a gulag in a foreign country. Really?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that's a violation of the 8th Amendment, if I'm not mistaken.
So now we're outsourcing our military, our prison industrial complex. We can't even have our own private prisons. Those got to be outsourced too.
Yeah, there's this term called galbalization, and that was created by this guy that is part of the Kohelet Policy Forum that talks about taking at capacity prisoners and shipping them off to other countries and stuff. So that's like that think tank in Israel and connected to people like Jeff Yass who fund he's one of the part owners of like ByteDance. He funds Thomas Massey and Ted Cruz and people like that through this thing called Club for Growth, which I think you'd be interested in.
That's the Zionist Jewish guy that supports Massey. Everybody's like, oh, he's not supported by AIPAC, but he's supported by a Zionist Jew still, nonetheless. Kristi Noem is pretty hot, but have you seen her before pictures the lip injections and the plastic surgeries? It's like night and day.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And the caked on makeup too.
Yeah. She's actually done a lot of crazy things at her home state. I know she's got this thing called like the Future Fund that she used to like build a shooting range, and she's like funneled money into her own thing called the Christie PAC. She's connected with like Berkshire Hathaway. And
remember,
like
she
that.
had the bill, like the Protecting God's Chosen People bill too, that she's signed for anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Her and
literally called
like,
Protecting God, ensuring there's something at God's chosen people. Like official government documents are affirming the idea that the Jews are God's chosen. Like only with Christians would we ever get something like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Christians, and you mentioned Huckabee, he hasn't been confirmed yet, and neither has Stefanik too. So two of the biggest Zionists, I guess Congress is blocking for their confirmations to be ambassadors at the UN and to Israel.
I wonder what their hangups are, because I know Pete Hegseth has like investments in Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin and stuff, and that didn't stop anything. He wasn't told he had to divest those or anything like that. Then you have RFK with his CRISPR company, and I guess that was okay to just fly under the radar. So
hey, but we're getting beef tallow.
Yeah.
Okay, we're winning. We're going to be healthy again.
It's just going to be the mono, or the all the additives in the fries are just going to be cooked in beef tallow. So it's like they're,
Right. Okay, let's see the rest of this one.
It wasn't this man, so I can say it. He wouldn't have given it up. I know him very well. There's no way. They took oceanfront property and they gave it to people for peace. How did that work out? Not good.
They didn't give it to them. They were already there. They just pulled out. They stopped their total occupation. They didn't give it to them. It's misrepresenting the reality so much.
Yeah, if you go back even 2 years ago, the line was, so they've pushed and pushed and pushed, and now they're just like stuck in this tiny little section of Palestine.
Adam King, my friend who's been on the show before, is Jewish. He lived in Gaza and got dragged out of his home, and apparently somebody took a photograph of it, and he found it like 15 years later, a picture of him being dragged out by a bunch of like brown IDF soldiers from I don't know where. But it's so the Palestinians were there, and then the Israelis came and were there too, but then they pulled out, but they didn't give it to them. I mean, I guess it's kind of semantic. In a way, they did give it to them because they pulled out, but you know what I'm saying. It's not like it was the Jews and then they just let all the Palestinians have it and come and take everything.
Yeah, I mean that would be like us like relenting, land back to natives or something, and being like, hey, we're just doing this out of the goodness of our heart. Here you go. Here's a gift.
Yeah, here's your Indian reservation. We're giving to you, and it's like, no, you took everything and squished us into here, this crappy land or something. It'd be like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I got all the same clips. Go ahead. You were gonna say something?
Oh, I was just going to talk about Pete Hegseth, who's obviously like helping to drive all this. He's going to be in charge of that $1 trillion defense budget, and talking about his ties to like that Douglas Wilson guy. There's actually a clip from Doug Wilson saying that in a Christian nation, all non-Christian displays of faith would be banned from the public square, and that public spaces would belong to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just a violation of the First Amendment and the perpetuation of no hide laws and things like that. It could even criminalize alternative beliefs and have people like under the penalty of law or something for doing
the Christians
anything
would love that. You'll see like some cringe Satanist go try to do something, and they'll go and show up and get in his face and start fights, or like to prove a point, satanic groups will try to put up a Baphomet or something in some public place to counter 10 Commandments or whatever the Christians put up, and then the Christians will go and destroy it. They're all for that. Of course they are. In Greece, some guy tried to build a little like pagan temple, like the size of a shed, and the Greek Orthodox Church contacted and meddled with the government to try to get him shut down and arrested for an illegal structure. That's how they are. Yeah, they want, and it's going to be the Christians that usher in the Noahide laws. They'll do it for them. under
Yeah.
the guise of, oh, it's Noah, it's biblical. Oh, it's just like the 10 Commandments.
Even you know, I live in the southeast, so there's obviously like a huge Christian influence here. But even people that are part of like non-Zionist churches or something, just they're all convinced that Israel's the chosen place and the place that their savior is going to come back, and all these things that just sort of grease the wheels to just keep letting them do what they're doing. And I think, you know, just like with the Trump administration, it's going to end up being this huge rug pull where eventually it's going to be too late, and they're still going to be doubling down because it's just this thing that they've been indoctrinated with since they were children. And, you know, they may even do like some sort of drone show and have, you know, a display of like Jesus's face coming out of the clouds or something like that. And it's just all going to be done by Peter Thiel. And that's going to be
I've
like
heard
the
a lot
sign
of
the
that.
end
I think
times.
it's more likely there's just going to be like a political leader in Israel that is like loosely interpreted to be like a messianic role. I think that's the more way they're going to do it. A lot of people have talked about like the Messiah will be AI or it'll be Project Bluebeam, but I think it's just going to be like a political leader. That's been the plan all along. Like, think about when these scriptures were written and how long they've been interpreting them. They didn't know about AI back then, right? They're not
Yeah.
describing an AI thing. Will they utilize AI to do it? Absolutely, but I don't think the AI is the Messiah. I think it'll be a person.
Yeah. And I mean, we're seeing like rumblings of them saying, you know, there's protests against Netanyahu and stuff in Israel, and what if, you know, that's just setting the stage for that next person, you know, and Netanyahu ends up just being the fall guy or the, you know, scapegoat for all of the things that Israel's doing now, so that some other guy can come in with that false dichotomy stuff and be the savior.
Yeah, hero, because he's had it on lock for a long time, longest serving prime minister. Even despite all of the corruption charges and investigations, you know, he was crowned by the Rebbe and Chabad a long time ago, and he's been in power ever since. And it's amazing. Here's another one of him. Speaking of the devil.
Why would they want to return? The place has been hell. It's been one of the meanest, toughest places on earth.
Wow, look at his grin on his face when they're yelling. It's their home. That's why they want to go back. That's why they want to stay there. It's their home. And he's just up there grinning ear to ear.
Did you hear that lady in the background that yelled, like, why won't they leave?
No, Trump said, why won't they leave? Here, listen again.
The place has been hell. It's been one of the meanest, toughest places on earth.
But it's their home. Why should they leave?
Oh, I see.
Right now, it's. I've seen every picture from every angle, better than if I were there, and nobody can live there. You can't live there. So if we can build, why would they?
Dude, they can't live there. It's all been blown up because of Bibi.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, well, Hamas did it. He helped prop up Hamas and start Hamas.
And what's crazy too is, you know, you see like all the people here in America who've like lost their homes to the floods or, you know, the fires and things like that. And they want to go back to their home, and they, you know, they don't want the government check or whatever that looks like. A lot of them got screwed on some of those deals, but apply that same logic here.
This is one of the latest young girl in Gaza being bombed and killed, while Netanyahu's grinning ear to ear and Trump's posting AI videos of them drinking drinks on this very beach. Isn't it just disgusting?
Yeah.
And then the millions, if not billions, of Christians around the world that think that Israelis are the good guys and are doing no wrong.
You know, I've
this
seen
is the peace
posts...
zone. This is the freedom zone, guys. This is what the Trump freedom zone looks like.
Have you seen the post from Randy Fine, who like he'll post or he'll comment on pictures of like dead babies that are Palestinians and say like, this is good, like it makes me smile or makes me happy, or says this is a would-be terrorist. That person is literally holds office and holds power in Congress. And
yeah, and Trump endorsed him. Trump endorsed him and said he was America first.
I think he even came out and said, yeah, AIPAC pays me, but I would gladly do it for free. And like that's psychotic, you know? like to bloodlust, especially against children. You know, it's one thing, I guess, if you're, you know, against a group of adults, but babies don't do anything, let alone, you know, congregate and try to set up this whole like terrorist network and all these things that they accuse them of. It's sickening, man.
Here they are talking Iran now.
We're having direct talks with Iran, and they've started. It'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting, and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious.
Dude, what is Bibi doing? I've just been watching Bibi the whole time. He's going like this. He's looking around. He's trying to not get caught by Ian Carroll, the body language expert that's going to decipher whether he's happy or not when Trump says something.
Yeah. He makes a sad face while Trump gives him another $12 billion.
Yeah. Okay.
Doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it. So we're going to see if we can avoid it. But it's getting to be very dangerous territory. And hopefully,
it's such a lie that, like, we've seen the hundreds of rabbis on the internet talking about how they want a war between us and Iran, according to their prophecies. You can't get up here and say that the guy that's tied in with all these rabbis in Israel that are all talking about war with Iran is fulfilling their prophecies and say he doesn't want this.
Yeah. Well, too, like, you know, I've seen that the whole war with Iran and Israel has always been like the precursor to World War III in the end times. And it's like, if you know these things and are aware of them, even as a Christian, you would think that you do everything you can to avoid it. But it seems like he's just been slowly sort of normalizing the idea of this is just, we're just going to have to go to war with them.
Well,
And
Jesus won't come until the war happens. And Trump knows about it, too, because remember on Rogan, at the very end of his Rogan interview, he said, hey, you know, Joe, the prophets say the world will end in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I just saw a clip today of, I think it was Gallant or Yair Lapid, the other top government guy in Israel with a big talk show, too. He goes, eventually, we're going to have to bomb Iran's nuclear sites. Like, they do want to bomb. They've been trying to get us to go to war in Iran, Netanyahu specifically, for decades. He's going to get up here and say, Bibi doesn't want us to go to war with Iran. Like, are you kidding?
Yeah. And I mean, by definition, they're a doomsday cult.
Yeah, by definition. Apocalyptic by definition.
Yeah.
hopefully those talks will be successful. And I think it would be in Iran's best interest if they are successful. We hope that's going to happen. We're having direct talks.
Remember when he promised he would fix the war in Ukraine? He would end the war in Ukraine on day one with one phone call to both?
Yep. And here we are still, I guess that mineral deal or whatever fell through. So we're just going to keep funneling money.
Again? It fell through again, huh?
I think
it's on,
so,
it's
yeah.
off. It's on, it's off.
And it's everyone's fault but his. Just like this Iran negotiation that I guess is going to allegedly happen is going to fall through, and it's going to be Iran's fault.
So Trump's big solution is like, we just need to have a nuclear deal with Iran, and then everything will be great. You mean like the nuclear deal that the Zionists got you elected to tear up right away?
Yeah.
That you bragged over and over again? I tore up the Iran deal. That was a big deal. You guys really like that. Adelson really wanted that. And now what are they trying to do? An Iran deal?
Yeah.
A nuclear deal? Come on.
Yeah. And weren't they like vilifying Obama for doing anything with like the Iran deal? And
so hypocritical, yeah.
Yeah.
Goldfish brain too, that people don't remember these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, do they not remember them, or it's just the internet completely manipulated by bots? And the bots make or break people. The bots can easily sway consensus with groupthink, hurting people. They have. It's been a long time since like Freud and Bernays propaganda, the levels of propaganda and the way they're doing it with AI and the internet, and we're in serious shit. We're cooked. I'm dead internet theory. I think the internet's dead, and even what we see online, it doesn't represent the real world, even in the slightest. The Twitter world to the real world.
Yeah, it's I mean, especially considering, all of these people that seem to, it's like when I post something, it either gets tons of views or it gets nothing. There's no like middle ground, no in between, and it's always shared by a bunch of people that I have no interactions with. And I don't know if it's like what sort of like framing in the algorithm is going on. But it's the strangest things. Like I'll have a post that, the Chabad Lubavitch post did pretty well, but then I have something that's like very adjacent to it and it gets like 4 likes. And I'm like, I've close to 22,000 followers. How am I getting 4 likes and like 153 views on stuff? It makes no sense. I have this clip from Doug Wilson I just sent you. That's the guy that Pete Hegseth sort of idolizes with that whole Christian Reconstructionist thing, talking about the public spaces on some podcast.
Let me see this. Right Wing Watch.
Yeah.
Why do we need 3,000 mosques in the United States? Well, it's because 50,000 Muslims came here. Well, let's not do that. Let's not do that. That's one thing. The second thing is assuming that
I'm for that. I second that thought, though.
that they're already here.
But not because they don't believe in Jesus.
I have no problem with them gathering together and praying together and doing that sort of thing, but no minarets. Church bells, a minaret is a Muslim prayer tower.
Right.
A public call to prayer.
Yep.
The public spaces would belong to Christ.
Is he calling to have all the synagogues destroyed as well?
Nope, not at all.
Is he saying no synagogue should be built?
Nope.
That's funny.
Right. So no minarets. If they wanted to get together in private and pray, fine.
Oh, you're so gracious. They can pray, they can be here, but just no buildings.
Yeah.
The buildings are the problem.
They have to hide their worship and
fine.
Meet in secret.
But no public claiming of the territory. Church bells are fine. Minarets would not be fine. Why do we need?
It's like, okay, dude, be consistent. Just say you're against all of it and you want no Islam here and I have more respect for you. Like, you can have your Islam, but just no minarets.
Yeah. That's like,
cool.
That's like, I mean, on the other foot, it's like, oh, well, Christianity is fine, but you're not allowed to have churches.
Yeah. Would they accept that? Like, oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. Yeah, you could pray to Jesus, but just no church bells. They're a little loud. We don't need it. We don't need them going off every hour. We all got cell phones and watches now. We don't need to have the bells.
Yeah.
No.
And
I honestly like church bells though.
Yeah.
And I don't like the prayers being read out because remember I went to Palestine and I heard some Muslim prayers going off and they're not pleasant. Not as pleasant as the church bells. But maybe that's just being raised culturally Christian.
Yeah.
All right, now let's go ahead. Okay.
Oh, the Douglas Wilson thing. I guess there's like clips of Pete Hegseth essentially endorsing the doctrine of sphere sovereignty, a worldview derived from the extremist beliefs of Christian Reconstructionism and espoused by churches aligned with Douglas Wilson, that guy we were just listening to.
I'll have to look more into him then. I wasn't familiar. I figured he was John Hagee. Is Wilson close with John Hagee that you know of?
I'm not sure.
Wilson, John Hagee. I'll have to look into that and save that for later.
But
all right.
It's the same Pete Hegseth that's going to be in charge of that $1 trillion defense budget.
Right. Well, I'm sure Eric Prince is tied in here somewhere as well. And remember, he was calling for a crusade back in the Iraq War, and he's connected to the Council for National Policy, which was co-founded with Tim LaHaye, the left behind rapture, Antichrist obsessed Christian dude.
Yeah, and Eric Prince had Betsy DeVos is his sister. She was in charge of she was the Secretary of Education, connected with like Amway and stuff. And David Lopez, who was on Blackwater with Eric Prince, is wrapped up in that whole like Colson Capital thing where you get like the wellness companies, Alinco Labs, and all that stuff.
Yeah, the pharmaceutical companies that have bought off all of MAGA, basically almost every right wing and online influencer.
Yeah, and now they're slowly starting to tiptoe to criticize Israel, like people like Steven Crowder and stuff, where he's like, maybe we should be a little more. But I just see that as like a huge honeypot to try to get people, to entrap themselves. And
Crowder's just trying to catch the wave and doesn't want to be left behind, I think is what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's got to pick it up a little bit, otherwise he's going to be too irrelevant. Okay, let's do one more here. Trump talking, threatening Iran with an island.
Aren't successful. I think if the talks aren't successful with Iran, I think Iran is going to be in great danger. And I hate to say it, great danger, because they can't have a nuclear weapon.
Great danger. We already covered the tariffs already.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, here we didn't see this though. He says Trump already gives them billions of dollars, and he says, "Congratulations, that's a lot."
On where? Well, we're talking about a whole new trade. Maybe not. Maybe not. Don't forget, we help Israel a lot. We give Israel $4 billion a year. That's a lot. Congratulations, by the way. That's pretty good. But we give Israel $4 billion a year. That's billions.
Netanyahu's response right there. Look, pretty good. Yep, it is good.
In the back of his mind, he's saying it's still not enough. And did he say 4 billion?
Yeah, that's a low number. That's only factoring in one thing. It's like, how many times in the last few years have they done like tens of billions for weapons?
Yeah, I mean, just in Trump's first 3 months in office now, we're up to 16 billion, I think, or close to it.
So we've been an hour and a half, but can you go another 10, 15 minutes and talk about some of the stuff you've been doing your reports on? I don't know if you want. Are you able to share screen or show us what's been on your mind, what you're working on, your shows, where people can find you?
Absolutely. So I've kind of been a little synonymous with like these mind maps and connective webs and stuff like that. One that I've been working on is, let me see if I can pull it up here.
And then we'll get the super chats too, guys, before we wrap it as well. I haven't read any of the super chats so far. We've just didn't want to be. When I have guests, I don't like to always read the chats right when they come in like I do on the show, but I appreciate you guys. I'll get to those shortly.
So I have this one web that I started a couple months back before Trump was. It was like right when he had won the election, and kind of like breaking down all of his ties. You have Howard Lutnick up here. He's obviously connected to Peter Thiel, who groomed J.D. Vance. You have Vivek, who was buddies with J.D. Vance at Yale. So I'm sure, it's no secret. Did you know that J.D. Vance's son Vivek is named after Vivek Ramaswamy?
I knew he had the name. I just thought it was like a popular Indian name. Wow, he named him. I did not know that. And Vivek Ramaswamy is a con artist and became a billionaire off total fraud.
That was the Alzheimer's thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Jim Cramer, Fox News and Jim Cramer helped him on the pump and dump.
Yeah. I caught wind of a rumor. I haven't been able to verify it for myself, but that his mom was actually the one behind all of the studies that got spoofed and stuff. That's but yeah, I basically, that like the world in politics works where, nepotism and this guy knows this guy and sets each other up on boards and stuff. So just kind of like digging through all of that and trying to make everything make sense. I have stuff with like Pam Bondi being tied to the people that own the New York Stock Exchange, Jeffrey Craig Sprecher, and his wife Kelly Loeffler is like the small business administration person, and they were caught up in like the 2020 congressional insider trading right before COVID.
Pam Bondi gets in and starts going after all the universities. It
Yeah.
still hasn't given us anything good in the Epstein documents, but
Yeah.
she's going after all those college universities, the priorities. And not that I'm obviously not a fan of InfoWars, but from what I saw in an Owen Schroyer video, like him and a lot of other people are being swatted, and they're saying that like the FBI, Cash Patel, her are doing nothing about it.
I'm honestly not surprised. If Cash Patel does anything while he's in office, I would be shocked, honestly.
Chat said Vivek actually means poop eater in Indian. Just a joke, though. I think
with Cash Patel, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you remember when Matt Gaetz was being investigated for allegedly sex trafficking that minor across state lines?
Yeah, with Roger Stone, right? Something with Roger Stone.
Yeah, during that investigation, he actually gave Trishul, which is a company owned by Cash Patel, $130,000 for like consultation during that trial. And
yeah, Cash Patel is like Mike Flynn Reawaken America tour and like goes on all the QAnon podcasts, like. And then you thought he was going to get in and like actually Bongino and Rumble, like all of these people. Remember Bongino like says, what is his most important issue that's near and dear to your heart? And he says, Israel, defending Israel.
Yeah, I've criticized Bongino enough to where he's actually blocked me on Twitter. It seems kind of crazy that somebody that can't even take like criticism from relatively, I'm a nobody in the grand scheme of things, but that he has to block me. And then he just posted a status the other day that said like your feedback and your criticisms are always welcome, but I can only communicate with him on his government account because he's not allowed to block me on there. But yeah, like people like Susie Wiles, you have Elon, and I mean he's connected with all sort Epstein.
So hold on, can you back up to Susie Wiles? Because all I've heard of her, she's like Trump's top girl, like that's doing everything for Trump, or so we're told. Chief of staff, right?
Yeah.
All I've heard about her, she's got like some type of pharmaceutical connections, right?
Yeah, she's so through this thing called Mercury Public Affairs, she's tied to Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, Swisher Tobacco has worked with them. Nestle.
Sounds like Trump really learned his lesson with COVID and surrounding himself with the deep state. Sounds like he's really fixed that this time around, like he told you he would, and all you suckers bought it.
Yeah, absolutely got fooled the first time so well that he just did the exact same thing again and put someone so tied directly to Pfizer. I mean, it's who's that, Borla? And Borla has been like invited up on stage and stuff to speak at Trump events. And she's tied in with like Ballard Partners and Robert Wexler. Ballard Partners works with Amazon, Dish Network, just to name a couple. And then his whole crypto thing too, like his World Liberty
Borla, the CEO of Pfizer. Sorry to interrupt, but I just was checking it. He won the Genesis Prize, which is an Israeli like Nobel Prize from Israel.
Oh wow!
In 2022.
I wonder if that's where Netanyahu got that golden syringe that was shown off in his office. I bet Borla made that for him.
Probably, could be.
And then you have like World Liberty Financial, which is Trump's two sons own that, which is a crypto exchange, and they own that with Stephen Witkoff's son.
Who's in charge of Middle East now? He's got the peace in the Middle East role, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's just a real estate developer that Trump's known at least since the 80s. So you know that his role over there is just going to be developing future real estate, which just ties back into like the whole Trump Gaza future city plan. He's actually got some weird ties, like his son Andrew Witkoff, I guess, overdosed at the Sunset Plaza Drive sober living facility in California, which is tied to like a lot of Hollywood stuff. I believe there's like some esoteric stuff that surrounds that.
Is there Kushner Witkoff connections?
I haven't explored that angle specifically, but I'm sure that if you dug deep enough that you'd probably find some. Cause you're talking about like the 666 address.
Well, not necessarily just that. Okay, here we have Witkoff and Jared Kushner on new era of U.S. Middle East. What? YouTube video?
What's that about?
It's just a month ago from the FLL Institute, FII Institute. Look at this. This could be something to watch. I wonder if there'll be some clips in this. Hold on. Where are we? Oh, shoot. I'm not presenting. Hold on. Share screen, entire screen. Boom, 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 boom.
Ago in New York. I really President Putin after this release, and it's led to a lot of positivity.
So I'm going to have to watch this. It's only 20 minutes. I have a feeling there might be something clippable, something good to clip in that.
Because that's both of them speaking together at the same conference at the same
a month
time.
ago.
And yeah, that's news to me. That's crazy. I can't believe I missed that.
I know. I'm going to watch it and see if there's anything important in it. Sorry, you want to share that screen again? I think it booted you down when I put mine up. Save that to watch later.
Yeah, I've been just sort of exploring everything, even going into like Mike Waltz, the national security advisor. You know, he's wrapped up with all kinds of things, like he has ties to Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney. He was, I believe, working with looks like George W. Bush back in the day. This is the whole like 2020 election, or the 2016 election, and how Doug Imhoff was like working with DLA Piper, which was representing the voting machines during the election investigation. There's this whole IP3 international scandal that happened in Trump's first term, where he was attempting to like sell nuclear energy to like Saudi Arabia and Qatar with Mike Flynn and Jared Kushner. And we're slowly having like big tech is buying like nuclear power plants and stuff. And we're going to see a revitalization of the nuclear industry here in America. And that's going to like go to power AI data centers and stuff like that. And
in Elon's electric car, robot, self-driving car fleets.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, you have the lithium grabs that are going on right now.
You think that's what Greenland's about?
Part of it? I think it's multifaceted, but definitely the lithium deposits. It's actually funny because not funny, but it's ironic that I was doing some investigating in like the fires that have taken place all in like the Southeast. And there's a couple of websites that'll actually map out like fire density, and the places where it was most dense either had a confirmed lithium deposit, or they were trying to build a lithium mine there, and the only pushback or the only thing stopping them were like environmentalists and activists and stuff.
Well, Trump axed all that. That was one of his biggest things. Drill, baby, drill.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, Elon definitely wants the lithium up in Greenland. And also, I just remembered, I covered this on stream, who they claim first introduced the idea of Trump getting Greenland was Ronald Lauder. So World Jewish Congress, Ronald Lauder, who has Estee Lauder. So there's a bunch of baby seal blubber or something they need to make some of the lipsticks and makeups or whatever. But that was one of the ideas. But it's also for for the big war, which the death cult would like to get the world in at some point.
Yeah, and it's insane to see people like Alex Jones posit it as a win when, 10, 15, 20 years ago, he was like, the North American Union's going to be the first step to globalism, or, whatever.
Yeah.
And now
Another
he's like,
total flip-flop. And I've been saying it for years. Alex Jones is helping usher in the New World Order in the name of fighting it.
Yeah.
How's that aged, guys?
Do you remember how far back that was?
2015, 16 is when I started really exposing Jones. And, I had on David Icke after he had his Trigger book. I had him on, and he took a shot at Alex Jones in that, and he came on, and I was like trying to like get him to talk about exposing Alex Jones being a Trump shill and stuff, and he didn't want to do it. And then now he obviously has been all the time. I've loved seeing that. Glad somebody big is calling out Jones, who, thanks to Elon and Trump, really has blown up, more popular than ever. Now he used to be attacked by the Hannitys and the Glenn Becks and the big Zionist talking heads like that. Now they all embrace him.
Yeah.
The Tucker used to say fuck Alex Jones. Glenn Beck, Hannity, even Bannon's another one that he's close with as well now. So he's completely been brought in the fold. It's just obvious at this. It's been obvious to me for a long time, but it's obvious to almost everybody.
Yeah, I made a post not too long ago where I was like, COVID was staged, the assassination attempts were staged, and I guess I must have struck a nerve with him because he ended up like commenting on that and was like, everything's staged but you, and I was
but
like,
you,
what about Sandy Hook?
Yeah, not everything's a conspiracy, right? You're selling the Alex Jones, not everything's a conspiracy shirts. That's a great idea. You sold any of those?
Not yet, and I think.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it's just because I'm terrible at marketing, but but it's just ironic because he was one of the people that sort of influenced me when I was like younger to be like always question the government. They run psyops all the time and shit. And now that I'm
bankers behind every war, they run both sides. It's controlled dialectics, and then now it's all that's gone out the window. Like you never said it.
Yeah, and then he's bringing on people like Ian Carroll to come in there and talk with 30-second self-proclaimed 32nd degree Freemason Chase Geyser, and they will have an hour, 2-hour segment, and I guess that's just fine with the new InfoWars to posit people that are aligned with Nicole Shanahan, RFK. Who else? Mike Flynn, Ivan Raiklin have all been sort of in that Ian Carroll circle, and then going back to the Brock Pierce thing with his buddies, and then a Freemason, and that's who runs InfoWar segments now.
Yep, and don't forget the Russian manager Daria too.
Yeah,
as well. All right, let's get to some of these super chats before we wrap it. And sorry, I know I told you hour and a half, but it went by so fast, and it's going well. So hope that's all right with you.
Yeah, perfectly fine, man.
Okay.
Happy to be back anytime.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for sure. We'll have to do it again. We a couple weeks ago, we recorded such a good interview C's did with me, and he messed up the audio and didn't press record. And it was probably the best interview I ever did. I was on fire, but I got to be smart enough to press record on my end too.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was definitely on me.
I've been there before. I've done that before as well. Paper Jesus for 25. Appreciate you, Paper Jesus. Guys, this Sunday, I want to do a panel with Paper Jesus and a bunch of you guys. So keep an eye out for a link to do a big panel. Can have up to 10 people on here, and we want to have a big party. John Garrett, he says 25 shekel challenge. Let's get the party started. John for 25 says challenge accepted. Paper Jesus, let's get it rolling. You guys are awesome. Liam Jarrett says, does 7Cs know that Jesus is fake and Jewish? Good show and guest. Thank you. Thank you.
I do.
Pretty much everybody that's not a Christian knows that Jesus is fake and Jewish.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody knows, besides the coping kooks online, that Jesus is Jewish, and it began as a Jewish movement out of Judaism, and all the first followers were Jews. Nobody disputes that besides the kooks online. And then if you're not a Christian, you know it's a myth and it's fake. So
yeah,
it's not that hard of a sell.
That interview that we did, we actually kind of dove into it, and I shared that I just think it's all like watered down ancient Mesopotamian deity worship and just repackaged.
Well, it incorporated older stuff. It wasn't original, right? Yeah, that's what the whole talk was on, huh? It was basically me just talking about Jesus deception, Abrahamic psyops, pretty much what it was. So nothing my audience hasn't heard before.
Yeah.
But okay, let's see here. Iron Ferret says, he's green pilled, guys. Can't you tell by the glowing green behind him? Totally green pilled. And it didn't learn it from me either. He just knows. He's just on it. Iron Ferret for 5 says, I'm poor and can't afford much. Could you do a compilation of supposed popular Christ Karen influencers that are paid by Jewish sources. Also, did you get my emails with links? I'm not sure if I got your email because I get lots of emails. I don't know of any Christ Karen influencers that are specifically funded by Jews. My argument isn't that all Christians are paid by Jewish sources. It's that they're brainwashed into Jewish myths. But thank you, Iron Ferret, for that. John Garatis for 10 says, Gospel of John Garatis, 1527. This should be good. For if the Gentiles have shared in the Goyishiach spiritual blessings, they owe it to him their material blessings. That is true. Zornder Edom says, loving the topic, wish I could be more engaged, listening while working, extremely dangerous times, insane psi warfare every day. P.S. AI ain't trustworthy. Right. AI just is like a new search engine that just tells you what's already online.
Yeah. It does all the thinking for you, so you don't have to.
Yeah. Iron Pilled says, I got to put on my Red Runes shirt and rep No More News soon. If I get a good pick, I'll get you at you on X. Eat meat and embrace the iron, brother. I love meat. Do you like meat?
Yeah.
What's your favorite type of steak?
Ooh, probably ribeye. Got a good fat content, and I like to
on the
eat
grill?
the fat with the meat. Yeah. I've been
With
I actually
steak
have
sauce?
No steak sauce.
Just salt and pepper?
Yeah.
Garlic?
Yep. Yeah, and I've been getting some from the farmers market lately that are really, really good.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good grass-fed type of thing. I've been sick, and I was out of town a little bit last week. I need to get back in the gym and have a nice big steak. That usually grounds me.
Yeah, it turns things around, man.
Yeah. Froggy McKee says, we're in the late stages of Roman Empire like before when it became Christianized and psychotic and Noahide authoritarian, anti-white, European folkish. We're right back 2,000 years ago. Pagan Rome collapsed and Dark Ages started. Christians and Muslims and Jews are beyond crazy. I agree with all of that. In fact, on the Edom falling thing, I've got a bunch of new See Through It All clips I got to play in the next stream on that. But did you see the dire wolf thing? Dire wolves being brought back from extinction.
Yeah, I've saw something about them like tied to the NX IVM thing that's just goes back to like this biogenetic engineering stuff wrapped up with Peter too. I'll have to do some more digging and webbing out.
So what I saw of it, it was they took some gray wolf and then they analyzed some old dire wolf samples they found, and they tried to like CRISPR gene edit it to make it like the dire wolves. That's my understanding of what they did, but they named them Romulus and Remus, which are the mythological founders of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And they in the story, these babies were suckled by a she-wolf, so by a female wolf raised them. So now we have the wolf raising the founders of Rome that were humans, and now we have humans resurrecting the dire wolf and naming them the founders of Rome. So is this like an inversion, a symbolic inversion that now we're going to have the fall of Rome? If they represent the beginning of Rome, is bringing them back the fall of Rome? I don't know, maybe a stretch, but it's what came to mind. I'm always linking everything to Edom stuff, so
yeah. I'll be looking for people named Constantine or Constantinus.
Oh, who called Trump Constantine the other day?
Really?
Yeah, the Greek Orthodox priest met with Trump and said, "You are the new Constantine."
Oh,
so
wow.
that identifies Trump as the emperor of Edom.
And then
this was like last week.
And that goes in line with like all of his comparisons to like Cyrus the Great or Cyrus the Great,
right?
Coming out of Israel. That's insane.
And
that
King
clip,
David.
maybe?
Glad you brought that up because it reminded me that was the latest, the last big Edom connection.
Do you have that clip handy by chance?
Trump and Constantine? I would have to search for it. I'll look for it here. Maybe I'll do like Trump Greek Orthodox. Trump Greek Orthodox. Found it. This is so funny. All right, here we go.
Through your leadership, you embody the values of our Christian faith.
Trump embodies the values of Christian faith. Are you kidding me? Really?
And love for the gospel.
Yeah, Trump, known for loving the gospel. He sells the Trump Bible. Sure, when he gets asked, what's your favorite verse, he doesn't even know one.
Yeah. He's on his third wife. He's got all those walking into the Miss America pageant back room. I'm sure Christ would love that.
Yeah, cheating on his wife with Stormy Daniels, porn stars, and then lying about it and then paying her off. And then all of this really embodies the Gospels, guys. But here's the Constantine part.
Values of our Christian faith and love for the gospel. You remind me of the great Roman emperor, Constantine the Great.
There it is.
Jeez.
Trump's real happy, like, oh, Roman Emperor, I like the sound of that.
Yeah. Look at that smile.
Who basically adopted Christianity and led to the fall of Rome. Great.
Yeah, the what was it, the Battle of Milvian Bridge, where they ended up like turning the tide of the war, and
because he saw a vision of the cross.
Yeah,
that's how the story goes.
And his mom came back with the original pieces, just so happened to be on her Palestinian pilgrimage.
Yeah, the mom went with Eusebius, and she was a Christian, and starts finding like the true cross and all of these now tourist spots. Coincidentally, hundreds of years later, after the fact, she happened to go and discover all these things. It's so ridiculous.
This emperor, your dear Mr. President, is the one who founded and built the magnificent city of Constantinople, my birthplace, known today as Istanbul.
Okay, so you got that. Now, a couple more super chats here. We got to get it wrapped up. Appreciate you guys. Froggy McGee says we read that one. John Garatis, last one on Odysee for 15. Thank you so much, John. You're amazing. To over 120, 7 Seas is doing some great research and makes revealing posts on Twitter exposing a network of paid agents and shills. Keep it up, man. Yeah, it really is refreshing. I'm always like mad and black-pilled on the internet. Like, where are all the good, normal people out there? And I only discovered you pretty recently, and we got in contact. And I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, man.
Hey, thanks, man. I've had a bunch of people come before me, and I'm just a regular. I never like went to school or anything like. I don't have any journalism experience. I'm just tired of being lied to, and I have way too much time and the internet. So,
how long have you been like following stuff online before you started posting yourself online?
I mean, I always had like a lurker mentality when it came to politics and stuff, but I would say,
were you watching Alex Jones like 10 years ago, like I was?
Yeah.
And David Icke too.
Yeah, well, David Icke, I actually am like fairly new to. I was doing research into Peter Thiel after JD Vance got elected, and I started that whole web and started to realize like, oh, holy shit, that this guy's in here and he's funding all these things. And then David Icke's account comes up, and I tell my girlfriend, I'm like, I really like this guy. He seems to be saying a lot of the same things that I did, so I followed him. Luck would have it, I got in touch with Kristen Bidding, was on her show on Iconic, and then that's sort of what led to me eventually having my own show on there, just because they appreciated the webs and the research and stuff like that too.
Cool. And where can they find your show?
So I live stream every Wednesday 4 to 8 p.m. and it's on Twitter, Rumble, Odysee, YouTube for now. I've already gotten a strike on there for one of my videos. And I tried to do BitChute, but I'm kind of retarded and I don't know how stuff works. So I'll still have to figure that out. But Twitter, Rumble,
I don't want to hate,
YouTube.
but BitChute's basically dead. It's been taken over. Odysee and BitChute are basically dead platforms. Rumble and the big money and Peter Thiel and the wellness company and everything has completely co-opted the alternative video streaming space.
Yeah,
it's either YouTube, which is like, completely kosher and censoring and leans left, or Rumble, which is MAGA morons, basically.
Yeah.
So the show is Lies and Ties. Didn't you like end a show or start a new show or something? You got 2 shows here. Deep Web Pod. Who do you co-host that with?
So that's my buddy Oates Main, and he's a recovering Trump supporter. I've slowly been trying to get him out of that circle there. And
this is another show This Week on the Web. So you got 3 shows.
So This Week on the Web was my iconic series.
Okay.
It was sort of like a 10 episode, let's look at the history of America, how it got influenced by things like the French Revolution and the medical industry, technocracy, the Trump connections and stuff. Taking a little bit of a break from that to kind of get like my foot in the door in some other things, writing Substack articles and things like that. And then hopefully be back on Iconic doing more for season 2 very soon.
With all of these different show names you have, it reminds me of Sam Tripoli, a joke I made about Sam Tripoli. Like, I think you win the award for most new show names or something like that. You just were hanging out with Sam at some event a couple days ago, right? How was
Third
that?
Eye Carnival. It was good except for the rain. It rained pretty much the whole weekend, and I was up on a panel with them, and while we were doing the panel, people's phones in the audience kept going off for tornado warnings. So we're
you're in like a rickety barn too.
Yeah.
Like
in the middle of nowhere. There's no service or anything, and it was a good time. I'm glad everyone sort of held through. The rain didn't stop anybody, and Kurt Metzger ended up coming, which was kind of a surprise. But that was a really cool experience. That's kind of like the first event I've been invited to as like a guest or whatever.
Who's Kurt Metzger? I've heard that name before.
He's a comedian.
Okay.
I think he's wrapped up in the Joe Rogan circle. So
Isn't there a famous like white supremacist named Metzger? I was like, that's not who you're talking about. Didn't AM Wake Up host it?
Yeah. Steve's great.
Steve. Yeah, I need to get Steve on a show too. I've been on his stream a couple times. He's cool. He gets it.
Yeah. And it was all just about like showing that, we don't have to be relegated to the internet, and there's people that do want to, meet in person and network and set up different things as alternatives to the systems that we have in place now. Because really, it's just about everyone getting away from these like systems, big food, government itself. At the end of the day, all these things are a market and require us to participate in them, and if they're going to keep screwing us over and trying to poison us and tell us what to do, then who needs them?
We got another super chat from Onyx Rock. Says, as an early 20s Zoomer, it's hard watching the young noticers get funneled back into the culprit, meaning Christianity. Jordan Peterson deserves an extra toasty spot in Hades.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson is a basket case.
Yeah. And he got hired by Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire to promote religion and Christianity, by the way, because they hate it so much. Ghost of Eldon says, this weekend I was in a mosh pit in Santa Cruz with my No More News Vulcanite t-shirt. The band's name was Bastard Machine and Lifer. Cool name. Bastard Machine. Does that mean you just like make bastards? That's
so
not
Elon?
Cool. Yeah, Elon. That's what you should call Elon's nickname, the Bastard Machine. I preach the good word of Adam Green to the youth. Hail Goy Shiach. That's good. Real world teaching. Vi Kai 619, $20 for the Goy Shiach. My thoughts are wholly on the success of the Green Pill movement. Our only true way to freedom, safety, and success is the revelatory. You know what I hate is how Christians try to frame it as if like we're pagans. They go, oh, what influence do pagans have? Like, we're not pagans in the sense that we believe in pagan gods or like we identify as like LARPing in the woods doing rituals or something.
Yeah.
It's Christians versus just non-Christians. It's people that believe in Jewish myths versus people that don't believe in Jewish myths. That's the divide. That's the litmus test. Do you believe in magical Jewish prophecies or not?
Yeah.
So stop framing everybody that doesn't as quote unquote pagans, which is just a derogatory term for anybody that doesn't believe in Jewish magical Jews. Mackenzie Doom says, America and Israel fighting terrorism together is on a billboard out in Redwood City. Devin Stack posted the photo of it. Very dystopian. Expect a whole lot more of that, I think. Okay, that looks like all the super chats and the Rumble rants. Appreciate you all for the support. Huge show, great show. It's great to have you here. We booked this last week. I didn't know that we would have the Netanyahu meeting that had to be covered right away, but you were perfect to be here to analyze that and share your thoughts. You're doing great work. We'll have to do it again. Any parting words or last plugs you want to give?
Yeah, just thank you again, man, for having me on, and I appreciate all the work that you do. I know it's not easy going to bat with all of these Christians and trying to dispel their fairy tale. So I appreciate what you're doing. I think a lot of people misinterpret me as like pro Christ or pro Christianity a lot because I see it in my comments. That is not the case. Wanted to put that on record here. None of the Abrahamic religions are I don't have anything to do with them.
Get the holy water.
Yeah. And just want to thank you for, doing everything that you're doing as well to get the message out there. And I think it's like a multifaceted thing where it's religion, technocracy, large banking industries and all these different things that they have that are trying to control people. And I just appreciate all the support that I've been getting and the kind words and stuff from you as he's sharing my stuff sometimes. And you've
been doing really well, man. You popped on the scene. We needed you, and you popped on the scene. And if there's anybody else, look at the success that C's had in just a short amount of time. Just a normal guy can make a huge difference, like he has been. Like you've been the biggest, like one of the biggest thorns in the side of new guys like Ian Carroll. Causing him a headache. He calls you a troll. Like, no, he can't respond to what you're saying. So that's what he says.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like seeing him talk with Candace and saying things like, they're trying to have porn is a war on Christ.
Yeah,
and it's like it's coming from the same people. I see bullshit, so I call it out when I see it, and I can't help that he's funneled into my timeline all the time. I don't even follow the guy.
Yeah, I don't even like it's not like I'm trying to pick on people, especially when people blow up like he has. It's like, no, when you're saying the things that I've been criticizing for years, I'm gonna criticize you when you pop on the scene and starts doing the same things that I notice.
Exactly. So. And if he didn't show up on my timeline at like every other post, I wouldn't see it. So I would be calling other people out, like Alex Jones and people like that. But it just seems like for some reason they want me to see his posts all the time. And I'm sure it has to do with me like responding to it and engaging with it and stuff. It's sort of cyclical, but I don't know, man. I see bad actors like that are constantly like corralling people away from the truth. And if people keep falling for that shit, I'm gonna be subject to the shit that's so even if it's like selfish or I just don't want to live in this.
And he's another one too, because I highly doubt he's a Christian. I'm pretty almost positive he's not a Christian. But I saw like when the Olympics thing he pandered and he's like, I really don't want to think there's like a satanic cabal that hates Christ, but like look at this Last Supper at the Olympics. And then he said, I went out and bought a Bible. He's pandering to Christians for money. He wants Christians to support him. A lot of these other people do, and like I do, and like 7Cs just did. If you don't believe it, some people, instead of exposing the problem, they try to get in with the problem and grift off the problem of these religious mind controls things. And he's doing that. He's not calling out the Christians. Oh, Schofield Bible. Oh, Talmud. How about you just expose all of the Bible as Jewish and fake? Otherwise, you're just limited hangout.
Yeah.
But, all right. Thank you so much. We went 45 minutes over. I told you. I hope that was all right, but it was a banging show, so didn't want to close it out. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, 7Cs. We'll have to talk again soon. Everybody have a nice night. I'll see you guys again very soon. Take care.